Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker, and for this lesson, we're going to talk about mean, median, and mode. Mean, median, and mode. All right. So we can find the mean, median, and mode when we're given a set of data or a bunch of numbers like we have here on the board. And there's some calculations that we have to do to find the mean and also to find the median. We don't really need to calculate anything to find the mode. We just have to identify numbers. But to find the mean of any set of data, you basically add up all the data. So add up all the numbers and then divide by the number of numbers. So you're going to find the sum of all of these numbers, and then you're going to divide by the number of numbers. So this is what it looks like. And this is for the mean. We're going to find the mean first. Then we're going to find the median, and then we're going to identify the mode. So the mean looks like this. It's basically a fraction. So we got 15 plus 12 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 9 plus 6. And then that's going to be the numerator of our fraction. And then we have to count to see how many numbers we have. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the number we divide by. All right. So let's add up these numbers. So 15 to 12, we should be able to do this with mental math. I mean, you could break out a calculator if you want to, but you don't really need to. 15 to 12 is going to be 20 plus 7, that's 27. 27 plus 3 is 30. 30 plus 4 is 34. 34 plus 2 is 36. 36 plus 2 is 38. 38 plus 9 is 47. And 47 plus 6 is 53. So we got, matter of fact, I'm going to go horizontal. So over here, my numerator is 53. All 8 of those numbers add up to 53. So that's our sum. That's the sum of all of our data. We added everything up and we got 53. Let me make sure that's right. So 20, 27, 30, 34, plus 4, 38, 38 plus 9, 47, 47 and 6, yeah, 53. And then we're going to have 8 for our denominator still. And 53 divided by 8, as opposed to trying to do that mentally, I'm going to grab my calculator and do 53 divided by 8. Yeah, I'm going to use a calculator for this part. 53 divided by 8 equals 6.625. So that is the mean of this data. 6.625. So the mean is kind of like a middle value, right? It's like a middle value of all of these numbers, right? 6.625, like if you kind of listed out all of these numbers in order from least to greatest, you would see that like 6.625 is like in the middle, right? Now the median is the number that's exactly in the middle based upon the actual numbers, all right? So the mean is, it's a middle value, but it may not be included within the data, right? Like there's no 6.625 value here. There's a 6 here, but there's no 6.625 value here. All right, but the mean is like a representation, right, of what the middle value would be, right? When we consider all the data from the biggest number to the smallest numbers, and you know what the middle value should be. Now the median is a little different because with the median, we're actually finding the middle value when we list the numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's say we go from least to greatest. Now you could go from greatest to least if you want to be different. You can either go from greatest to least or least to greatest. Most people and most textbooks go least to greatest. But if you want to be different, you could go greatest to least. I always go least to greatest though. So for the median, this is what we're going to do. For the median, we got first step to find the median. We list all the data in order from least to greatest. So I got my 2, and then I got a 2, and then I got 3. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cross these off, right? So I know I listed them. Then I got a 4, cross that off. Then I got a 6, cross that off. And then I got a 9, cross that off. And then I got a 12, cross that off. And then I got a 15, cross that off. So what I've done is I've listed all my numbers in order from least to greatest. Least to greatest, all right? So that's the first step to find the median. Now to find the median, we're looking for the middle value, right? So one way to do this is, because we're looking at a list of numbers, there is a formula that we can use to figure this out. But since we're looking at a list of numbers, we don't need to use the formula. We can just basically cross numbers off. So we cross off because we want to end up with the middle value of all 8 of these numbers. Okay. So we cross off the first number, we cross off the last number. Then we cross off the new first number. Then we cross off the new last number. And you see what's happening? We're crossing numbers off and we're going to end up at the middle, right? We cross off the new first number, cross off the new last number. Now, watch what's going to happen. Because there are only 2 numbers left, if I cross this 4 off and I cross this 6 off, all the numbers are going. So I got to stop right here. But let's back up a minute. We're looking for the middle value, right? But we have 8 values altogether. Technically speaking, you can't have a middle value if you have an even number of things. Or let's think about people, right? Let's say somebody has 8 children. In a family with 8 children, there technically is no middle child. There are 2 middle children. There's not one single middle child. There's one single middle child if there's 7 children altogether, 5 children altogether, like the family that I grew up in, 3 children, 9 children. There has to be an odd number in order for there to be a single middle value. So this is what you do when you have an even number of values and you're trying to find a median. What you do is you find the 2 middle values, which we did here. We found the 2 middle values, which are 4 and 6. And you find the mean between these 2 middle values. And that mean will be the median of the entire set of data. All right. So if you have an even number of values or an even number of data and you want to find the median, you're going to have 2 middle values, right? You're going to have 2 of them. You're going to have 2 middle values. What you have to do is find the mean of the 2 middle values. So you're going to find the mean of 4 and 6. So basically what you're going to do is this: 4 plus 6 divided by 2. 4 plus 6 is 10. You have 10 divided by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is the median. All right. So our mean is 6.625. Our median is 5. Okay. So that's the actual middle value of all the numbers. Well, not all the actual numbers, because between 4 and 6. So the middle numbers are 4 and 6. But we want to know what's the value that's between, that's like exactly in the middle of all the data when the numbers are listed from least to greatest. All right. Now for the mode is the value that shows up the most in your data set. Now, there won't always be a mode. There will not always be a mode. In this data, there is a mode. But sometimes, if all of the data shows up in equal amount of times compared to each other, then there's no mode. So meaning like this: if every number out of these 8 numbers showed up just once, then there would be no mode. There wouldn't be one. If every number showed up twice, there wouldn't be one, right? If every number showed up 3 times equally, there wouldn't be one. But because here, 15 is once, 12 is once, 3 is once, 4 is once. 2 shows up twice though. 9 shows up once, 6 shows up once. Because 2 shows up more than all the other numbers, that means that 2 is the mode. And that's how you find the mode. So the mode is the number that shows up the most. And sometimes there could be a situation where the data is bimodal, meaning there are 2 modes. So for example, in this particular data set, 2 showed up twice, which is more than every other number. But let's say 6 showed up twice also, right? So let's say 2 showed up twice and 6 showed up twice, but everything else still shows up once. That would mean that 6 is also a mode, which means the data is what we call bimodal. Bi, the prefix bi means 2, like a bicycle has 2 wheels. So the data could be bimodal, or the data could be trimodal, and so on and so forth. You will see some situations in problems like this where your data is in fact bimodal. All right. So that's basically just a quick little review of how to find the mean, median, and mode. To find the mean, you add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. To find the median, you put all the numbers in order, either from least to greatest or greatest to least, and you find the middle number. If there's an odd number of data, then the middle number is going to be there, right smack in the middle, right? You just can count until you get to it. But if there's an even number of data, you're going to have 2 middle values. So what you got to do in that case, whenever you got an even number of data, you got to take the 2 middle numbers and find the mean, like we did at first with finding the mean. you got to find the mean of the two middle numbers, which is basically just the halfway point between both of those numbers, right? And the mode is just the value that shows up more than all the other numbers, all right? And sometimes the data could be bimodal, meaning there are two modes. There are two numbers that show up more than all the rest of the numbers. Or it could be trimodal, meaning there are three numbers that show up more than all the rest of the numbers. So just a little review. I've shown you how to do it, but in order for you to memorize this and master it, you're gonna have to go get some practice. All right, so go get some practice. Either check with your teacher for homework or go online and find some practice problems for you to work on where you have to find mean, median, and mode, or just make up some numbers. Just make up some random numbers and just find the mean, median, and mode of those numbers, right? Just to get the practice, because that's how you really learn math. You learn math through practicing. I've shown you how to do it, but you got to practice it to really learn it. All right, so go get some practice, and I'll catch up with you on the next video. Peace.